Good day, everyone. Today I would like to share with you a program that I made. This is a CLI, which allows users to fetch the financials and the accounting ratios for listed companies. So we'll take a look at it here. So here you could see all the commands that a user could use. And like I said, this is a program which is a CLI tool that allows users to fetch financial statements and accounting ratios of listed companies. So you get the balance sheet, income statement, cash flows, get all the ratios of liquidity, profitability, gearing, valuation, or you could print all of them at once. We could get the name or the ticker based on the name or ticker we provide. And we can export the financials and the charted ratios to Excel. So let's take a look first at the get name ticker command. So this is going to be a while loop that's going to continuously prompt until we give a legally registered name. So I'll give it NVIDIA Corporation here. We can see that the ticker is NVDA. So now we can pass this as argument to our other commands. So we'll do the balance sheet here. And the API I'm using for the free version only gives 1 to 5 years for the period. So the while loop just continuously prompts till the user gives a valid integer between 1 and 5. So now you can see here that the balance sheet of NVIDIA has been printed to terminal. One thing you might notice is the year-end date is not the end of January, but that's just particular to NVIDIA, which uses the last Sunday of January as their year-end date. So take a look at some of the accounts. So you could see here cash and cash equivalents, that's 8.5 billion. And you can see the rest of the balance sheet here. So next we'll take a look at the income statement. Same thing, needs to be between 1 and 5. So now the income statement has also been printed to the terminal. Take a look at the revenue, about 130.5 billion. See the rest of the accounts here. So next we're going to take a look at the cash flow statement. And you can see that the statement has been printed to the terminal as well. So we could take a look here. For example, we have the free cash flow, about 60.1 billion, about 13 billion change in cash. So now we could take a look at the ratios. And here we could pick the ratio we want. We are going to start with liquidity. So here we're going to be prompted for the ticker and the period. And now we could see that the liquidity ratios of the current, quick, and cash ratio have been pre-printed to terminal. So the next set of ratios we're going to look at is the profitability ratios. But this one is going to have another option for the user. As you can see here, that I allow the user to choose what their measure for capital employed is, which is going to be used in the return on capital employed. So they can use option 1, total assets less current liabilities, or option 2, equity plus non-current liabilities. The difference being that option 1 will give a better measure of the operational capital, whereas option 2 will be a better measure for the capital structure of the company. But I just went with 2. You can see that all the ratios have been printed here. So now I'm going to take a look at the gearing. And here it is in the terminal. And the final option with the ratios, you could just choose to print all of them at once. So here we could see all those ratios that we just looked at individually. So the final command that the user can use is going to be the export command. Now this is going to take all those financials and all those ratios that we previously just looked at and export them to an Excel file. So let's just execute it here. So we're going to need to provide the ticker argument. Now here it's going to ask us for a file path. This is another while loop that will continuously prompt the user for a valid file path. So let me just get mine ready right here. We could try a bit of garbage input and it's just going to keep prompting us. So now we should have our Excel file. Here it is. Now we can see here we have the balance sheet that we looked at in terminal. This is exactly what we saw in terminal. So just to show you, here's that same balance sheet that we looked at earlier. You can see those figures are the same. So here we can take a look at the income statement. Cash flows, and now all the ratios are here too. Now, when we get to the chart sheet, it's pulling the data for the charts from all these ratio sheets. So we could take a look. So all those ratios have been charted. Now, because these are Excel visuals, we'll be able to filter them and change the underlying data. So here we could filter out the interest cover, which is kind of skewing this visual. Now we can get a better look at these other ratios. And then we could take a look at the chart right here, which is pretty busy. So why don't we filter out, we can filter out the periods. So maybe we only want periods 1 through 3, and then we could get rid of some of these other ratios and just keep these profit margin ratios so you can get a clear look at those. And another thing we could do is, because these are Excel charts as opposed to just Python like visuals that we've made as images, we could change this underlying data. So here I'll just change the final period, and I'll change it for all the ratios so that when we get back to our chart sheet, we'll see that the visuals have changed. And just to drill this home, I'm going to change the beginning period as well. But that was my project. Thanks for watching.